comedic if it wasn't so sad. So all the people who were at the Capitol on January 6th that walked through velvet ropes, your grandma and your grandpa and the people who were just there meandering around who had their homes busted in, those people are more on the chopping block than the illegal aliens. Those people have less rights than the illegal criminal aliens. You know, little news flash, Frank. I think Frankie would agree with me on this. You don't get arrested on charges of rape and child trafficking and murder and knife crime if you're a freedom-loving asylum seeker who fears for your life. If you're caught up in that and you're arrested for it, chances are you're probably not such an upstanding person who's not really afraid of the country in which you're claiming you need to seek asylum from. But CNN blurs their faces. Anyway, Frankie.
I mean, listen, this whole thing with the blurring of the faces, it's like, okay, you're going to say, oh, well, they didn't get due process. So, we don't know if these are, maybe a picture was moved and this is the wrong picture for this person, this is that person. I want them to do one thing, okay? Okay, CNN, if you're listening, track down all 3 million people that were deported by Barack Obama, deporter-in-chief, and let us know if they got due process, because I guarantee you they did not, and no one cared. Nobody cared.
And no one cared. You know why? Because it's very clear cut, if you're reading the Constitution through a normal lens, that just because you step a foot on the land doesn't give you all of the rights of a citizen. Otherwise, then millions, if not billions of people would step foot on the land and then get entitled to everything. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. Speaking of due process, I'll tell you somebody who's going to need his due process, and that is John Bolton and the security state, the deep state. They are getting really angry. I mean, their guy Mike Waltz just got bounced out. Hegseth survived. There's a little bit of a rivalry there. But it seems like this military-industrial complex and the folks over there, they're getting very mad that Hegseth is stopping wars. Wow, what a concept. And getting rid of the puffy trannies who are joining the military just to get gender reassignment surgeries. They're getting angry at that. That's because the people who pay the bills, the people like John Bolton, well, they don't have money to pay anymore, because without a needless war to fight, you won't have money to pay. So John Bolton, again, these people are not that smart, reacts on CNN by threatening the Secretary of Defense. What's going on? Roll it.
Do you believe Hegseth should still be on the job?
No, I think he should resign for his own safety's sake, if nothing else. This is a critical time for the American military. We understand the Trump administration will rightly propose enormous budget increases for defense.
All right. So he goes, oh, this is a critical time for the country. And yeah, the man who called down a strike against Iran, who didn't get us into a nuclear war within the first 100 days, he better resign for his own good. I mean, who is John Bolton talking about that is going to make it so it's not for his own good? I mean, he controls the Pentagon, so the troops are under his watch. The FBI is under the control of Kash Patel. President Trump is the president. He's the commander-in-chief. So, John Bolton, who are you exactly saying is going to threaten Pete Hegseth? Your thugs who are upset that they're not able to wage war anymore? What are they going to do? Are they going to take him out like they tried to take out President Trump? Maybe the Hegseth takeout would be a little more under the radar. How sick are these people? John Bolton, what do we say? Lock him up, or at least detain him immediately and question him and shave off his mustache in the process. Now, speaking of the topic of law and order and what's normal and what's not, it seems like the Democrat Party has done a total 180 as they evaluate President Trump through the 100-day lens on, the rule of law. I'm old enough to remember, and I know you all are too, that during the Biden regime, not an administration, a regime, during the Biden regime, they were raiding the homes of former presidents and arresting them with absolutely zero basis. So much so that even left-wing commentators said, I don't know what they're doing here. This is so weak. It almost seems like they're doing it for political purposes. And the fact that the number 3 person at the Biden DOJ left to go become the prosecutor in New York who is arresting Trump, that just kind of isn't right. That's not normal. It seems like all the Democrats have forgotten about the way they talked about the rule of law and the way they exercised what was called rule of law over the last 4 years. Let's just take New York Senator Chuck Schumer, for example, now and then. A little throwback. Roll it.
they're trying to intimidate judges. This is not the first time or the second. They've said they want to impeach judges. They said they're going to go after judges who don't agree with them. That is so against the Constitution. What Trump, Biondi, and the whole Justice Department are trying to do is push that judge, threaten that judge, so the judge is no longer impartial. It is outrageous. You cannot have a democracy without an independent judiciary, and they're trying to clip the wings of that independence. And they're taking away fundamental rights. I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price.
Oh, Frankie. They're not even good with their, threats. Like, you got Bolton there, he better do it for his own safety. And then Schumer goes, you have released the whirlwind.
Yeah.
Like, what is that? The whirlwind.
It's just incredible to me. I feel like, even past, the first term for Trump, it's always just been the Democrat message is like for back when newspapers were like the main way to receive media. It's like, listen, pal, it's all recorded. We go on Twitter. We find it in 5 seconds.
Yes.
It's not going to work, pal. It's not going to, it's crazy.
Yeah. And Frankie, what's even funnier is that you talk about newspapers and like how we can look back things in history. It's funny because Schumer and all the leftists are like, this is unprecedented that President Trump would arrest a judge. Let's see what happened. The judge, the state judge, was defying President Trump and his immigration policy. The judge was breaking the law, helping facilitate a criminal illegal to escape through her courtroom, which is illegal. And by the way, the last time that a judge was arrested for this was in 2018. And that was the same time President Trump, and he was arresting a judge who was helping an illegal alien, in an illegal manner. And there has been Supreme Court precedent on the books that says that state judges are not above the law. Nobody in state government is above the law, and therefore you can't break the law with impunity. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a country if judges can just go break the law and do whatever they want. And it's funny, Frankie, the 2 times before that officials were either arrested at the state level or threatened to be arrested was during the segregation time. So it was when they were desegregating schools, and then when they were doing Reconstruction and basically putting the country back together after slavery. So you tell me, Schumer, if the judges and the state officials are totally impartial, do you think that if we went back to Jim Crow and Reconstruction, that those people who wanted to keep whites and blacks apart, that the federal government should have stepped in or shouldn't have stepped in to do something about it? Because I guess Chuck Schumer thinks that those people and those officials should have done nothing about it. It's such a joke. These people are mental midgets. They really are. Oh, wait, mental midgets. Oh my goodness, checks notes. We got the perfect segue here. The Democrats, I mentioned at the start of the show, introducing articles of impeachment. Yes, I'm not kidding. Another article of impeachment against President Trump. You think you'd save this up for like something big and grandiose and, like the Trump card to put down on the table when they needed something. No, the Democrats are so fundamentally stupid and childlike that they've now done it 7 times, A little newsflash, guys. After the first or second time, nobody cares anymore, and especially when you pick the lowest common denominator of the party to deliver the message, people are just laughing at this point. This isn't Jimmy Fallon in a wig and blackface doing a skit. This is a real member of Congress. Roll it.
This is Congressman Shri Thanedar. Donald Trump has already done real damage to our democracy, but defying a unanimous 9-0 Supreme Court ruling, that has to be the final straw. It's time we impeach Donald J. Trump. The court said the wrongfully deported Kilmer Garcia must be allowed to return and receive due process.
All right. It must be remanded back to the prison system. We must arrest Donald Trump. Oh, my goodness. It's amazing how they keep defending Kilmer Abrego when it came out that, and Frankie talked about this, that Kilmer Abrego's, wife, there was a time where another police report was filed where I believe the wife's former boyfriend was saying that he feared for his safety because Kilmer was a known gang member. And you know what this Democrat member is who's introducing the articles of impeachment? He's a known puppy killer. I'm telling you, the Democrat tent is quite a tent, a diverse tent. And I'm not talking about race, color, and creed. I'm talking about diverse on their spectrum of how much of a sicko they are. That's the tent. Democrat congressman calling for Trump's impeachment, once accused of indescribable act involving 118 beagles in his pharmaceutical lab. Basically, this guy owned a lab. Okay, that was his business before he came to Congress, and the lab was going bankrupt. So not a good businessman, and he was involved in like the Fauci type stuff, experiments on animals. This guy, when it was all going belly up and he was losing all his money, he left over 100 beagles and other animals in the lab to die. It was so egregious that staffers in the lab literally broke into it to rescue some of the dogs out, while this sicko shut it down and said, hey, I took a loss on my business, and now I'm going to go run for Congress. That's the Democrat way. Fail up. But what a sicko. Anthony Fauci, the impeachment guy that they picked, who's in massive amount of debt still, I understand, from his failed lab that he ran. His congressional, political committee is over 800 grand in debt. So I think he owes a couple people a couple of things, and that's why they put him out there, Frankie, to be the sacrificial lamb. Because I guess they had nothing else to throw at the wall. They had to have somebody try to do an impeaching. Yes, Frankie?
Yeah, it's just, I understand. Obviously, this guy's an American citizen. But even for me, we're Italian here, right? Me and Mike. Even if there was some Italian person with a very strong Italian accent, which I could understand, it's my grandma, it's my grandpa, I understand. But I would just, in my head, it's like, I just would never vote for someone who just is so far away from the assimilation part of it's just insane to me that we've gotten to a position where there's no position where it's like, hey, maybe we'll get someone that's been born here and actually cares. And there's no question that there's no way he's paid by any foreign anything.
I think that's the main theme, is that it's a wild time. Our founding fathers would be rolling over in their graves. If we were watching TV, like you're watching me right now and Frankie, and we look at the person speaking and we go, does this person even have allegiance to the country? I mean, again, we have multiple members of the Democrat Party where we look at them and we go, I don't even know if they have allegiance to the country. And you know what? I'll put some Republicans like John Bolton, who's allegedly a Republican. I'll put him in that category too. And they go in the category of other people who really, at this point, are showing they don't have much allegiance to the country, and that is the fake news. President Trump, for his 100 days, sat down with ABC News for an interview, and he picked the reporter because he said, I don't know who he is. Let's give him a shot. Hilarious. But he picked him, and they had the exchange, and it went exactly, even though we don't know who this guy is, it went exactly how we exactly knew it would go. Fake news spewing garbage after a very successful 100 days. Roll, Frank.
The fighting. Don't
forget. You think he wants peace? You think Vladimir Putin wants peace?
I think he does, yes. I think he does. I think because
even with the raining missiles
I think he really, his dream was to take over the whole country. I think because of me, he's not going to do that.
Do you trust him? Do you trust him?
I don't trust you. I don't trust a lot of people. I don't trust you. Look at you.
And there we go. It was the guy, it was the reporter who argued with him right before that the tattoos on Kilmar's hand weren't gang signs, now saying that I guess we should be in war with Russia. That's the Democrat Party for you right there, from their fake news people to the stooges that they elect and all the likes. We're winning, baby. All right, I want to tell you guys about our first sponsor of the show here tonight, and those are our friends on over at Brightcore. Guys, there is a battle going on right now between good and bad bacteria that can determine the outcome of your health. Kimchi 1 from Brightcore Nutrition is the fermented superfood your body needs to arm the good guys with the right weapons and defeat the bad actors once and for all. It contains over 900 strains of beneficial bacteria in each capsule. And guys, I'm telling you, fermented foods, the strains of bacteria, it helps you lose weight. That's how I've lost 20 pounds this year. Your gut health is so important. Kimchi 1 supports healthy digestion, fortifies your immune system, and helps detoxify your body. Kimchi has been shown to reduce the risk of obesity and promote smaller waistlines. It curbs your appetite, and it naturally boosts your metabolism. Guys, go to mybrightcore.com/last call. That's mybrightcore.com/last call to get 25% off your order, or call the number on your screen to get up to 50% off. 888-959-2261. I'm telling you guys, summer's coming up. It's time to get healthy. Go to mybrightcore.com/last call and support the show and yourself. All right, we are going to take a quick break. The show rolls on. Do not go anywhere. to the show, everybody. Mike Crispi here. Thanks for sticking with us on this Saturday night on Real America's Voice. You know, we're continuing to talk about the first 100 days of President Trump's very, historical, monumental, incredible first 100 days. And now everyone is asking, what is coming next? I think the biggest question on people's mind is, what is Congress going to do? Are they going to get President Trump's tax bill through the House and Senate? And what will that timetable be like? Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent yesterday was in the White House briefing room with Caroline Leavitt, and he gave us an update. I think this is going to be the most important piece of the next 100 days. Let's take a look at what the secretary said. Roll it, Frank.
The tax bill is going much better than I would have thought when I took office on January 28th, and that's through President Trump's leadership. That Speaker Johnson, Leader Thune are united. Speaker Johnson, we had a very good meeting yesterday with something called the Big Six, NEC Director Kevin Hassett, myself, Speaker Johnson, Leader Thune, Committee Chairman Jason Smith, and Senator Crapo. And the tax bill is moving forward. It is going to give permanence to the 2017 Tax Cuts and Job Act, which will, back to the question on certainty, it will give American business certainty, it will give American people certainty.
Okay, so obviously very important, and people talk about the need for these tax cuts to supplement everything that else President Trump is doing economically. Here to talk about that and so much more tonight is my amazing panel. We have the great Michelle Backus from Real America's Voice and Roger Stone, a legend who is the host of the Roger Stone Show on 77 WABC. Great to have you both here. We'll start ladies first. Michelle, a reflection on the first 100 days for President Trump. And do you think Congress is going to get their butts in gear and act and get President Trump's tax bill through? What do you say, Michelle?
Mike, I truly hope that they do. And let's just take a look back. President Trump has done more in the first 100 days than Biden has done his entire presidency. I mean, you look at it, we're focusing on energy independence, securing the border, the #1 issue for Americans. Just the other day, the administration highlighted just how many illegal immigrants at the hands of the Biden administration came into this country and killed women and children. These are violent offenses. You know, President Trump and his administration is doing the hard work, and they're doing a lot of things that other administrations didn't want to do. That leads me into the tariffs as well. And to be quite honest with you, gentlemen, I'm very excited to see where the administration goes in the next few years. If this is the first 100 days, just imagine what's next.
That's right. And as we say, we're just getting started. Roger, you know, first 100 days, you've seen many of these administrations come and go. What do you think of the first 100 days? And what do you make of Congress right now needing to get this thing passed? They're talking about by Memorial Day or the 4th of July. How do you see it with the big, beautiful bill, as President Trump calls it, getting through and getting put into law?
You know, Mike, as you know, I worked for President Ronald Reagan in 3 presidential campaigns. I think he was a very great president. But in all truth, Donald Trump has accomplished more in the first 100 days than Reagan did in 8 years. It's important also to understand that tariffs are but one leg of a 3-legged stool when it comes to his economic plan. These tax cuts are absolutely vital. Anyone who opposes extension of the Trump tax cuts would be technically supporting the greatest single tax increase in American history. And then thirdly, we have to take everything that has been produced by DOGE, the massive waste and fraud particularly, and really seriously cut wasteful federal spending. If we do those 3 things, by the time we have a congressional election in 2026, you will have a boom economy, and we will increase our margin in the House as well as the Senate. One of the things that bothers me are all these chicken littles who are running around conceding the 2026 election. You know, in politics, a week is a lifetime, particularly with this president. The action we've seen, Michelle's absolutely right, sealing the border. Again, turning on the spigot to drill for both oil and natural gas. Those accomplishments alone are phenomenal. I think the president's off to an amazing start. And lastly, let me say, he's clearly hinting about the possibility of suspending habeas corpus, as President Roosevelt did, as President Lincoln did, as President Grant did, to overcome the overreach and judicial tyranny by these federal judges who think they can usurp the judgment of the American people in the last election.
Yeah. And that's going to be a big one, because it seems like that's what the last thing the Democrats are doing is their last line of defense. You know, they couldn't jail Trump. They couldn't kill Trump. They couldn't do the impeachment and J6 scams. So now they're just doing it through the activist judges. And, you know, we're talking about the future elections, and I want to shift gears here a little bit, because to 2026 midterms coming up, people are talking about that. But it seems like the Democrats and their leading surrogates are kind of getting out there and jockeying for position a little bit, almost so like the 2028 frontrunners are starting to emerge, you can say. We have two people that I have my eye on, and I want to get your guys' reaction on this. The first one, our friend Porky Pritzker out of the state of Illinois. Take a look at what his message is out to the voters ahead of the next election. Roll, Frankie.
The dangers that we saw in Nazi Germany are the dangers that we need to react to now. It's a 5-alarm fire, everyone. It's time to step out of your comfort zone and step out into the streets.
All right, 5-alarm fire, Nazi Germany. That's one guy who I think is going to be running for it. And then we have another one who came into the fold just this week. And it was actually President Trump who said he might make a good candidate. That is sports announcer Stephen A. Smith. Here's President Trump talking about him. Roll, Frank.
Stephen A. Smith may run for president, as you know. Do you have any advice for Stephen A. If he launches the run?
No, Stephen A. He's a good guy. He's a smart guy. I love watching him. He's got great entertainment skills, which is very important. People watch him. You know, a lot of these Democrats I watch, I say they have no chance. I've been pretty good at picking people and picking candidates, and I will tell you, I'd love to see him run.
All right, there you go.
All right, so Stephen A. Smith maybe, and Porky Pritzker definitely going to be in there. Michelle, how do you see this field shaping up? What do you think about those two candidates specifically? And is there anybody else who you're watching as a maybe 2028 contender in this pool of freaks?
I'm just confused. Has it gotten that bad for Democrats that we're resorting to Stephen Smith? I mean, think about it. They're really grasping for straws. You look at Illinois as well. I know so many people, I'm here in South Florida, that left Illinois due to the leadership and are now in Florida because of what's going on there. I mean, I truly think that the Democrats are lost right now. They have no idea what to do with the party. I also think, Mike, that they're pushing AOC. If you've noticed, we've seen AOC do this little tour imitating accents, trying to honestly imitate Kamala Harris is what it reminds me of. I think that they're so desperate, they're not quite sure where to go with the party. I just saw a poll the other day, actually, that said that 50% of people want to see the party become more progressive, which is really interesting to me, because if you even look at Pride this year, major companies are actually rolling back their sponsorships compared to years in the past, because they're realizing the average American doesn't want the radical left agenda shoved down their throats. And finally, corporations are taking note of that. Unfortunately, I don't think the Democratic Party got that memo, which is great news for us.
Yeah, it is. And AOC, that's another one in the mix that looks like she might be mounting a Senate campaign or a presidential one. Roger, what do you think? You were talking about Pritzker the other day on 77 WABC. Pritzker and now the Stephen A. Smith stuff, what do you make of it?
You know, Pritzker is so fat, when he walks down the street, the cops say, break it up. If any Republican said what you just saw him saying in that clip, telling people to go to the streets, we'd be arrested. We'd be charged with insurrection. I think he's crossed the line in an effort to be more radical than the rest of the field. But this guy is so fat, he's got his own zip code. He has no possibility of being nominated and no possibility of being elected, because he's a failed governor. Crime is out of control. Taxes are out of control. What will he run on? He'll do for America what he's done for Illinois. Please give me a break. Stephen A. Smith, well, he'd be the best dressed candidate the Democrats have ever nominated. He's been on my international best dressed list, I think, 3 years in a row. I don't think he's interested. I do take AOC seriously only because financially, I don't think she can resist. She would raise tens of hundreds of millions of dollars in small contributions, including the money that, of course, is put in through Act Blue, that is essentially fake contribution, money that's laundered into her campaign. I'm not sure she can resist the financial opportunity, but let's be very clear about one thing. Look at all the polls. The leading candidate today, the number one choice, particularly if she becomes governor of California, would be Kamala Harris. We should be so lucky.
Please. It reminds me of the Yo Mama jokes. Do you guys remember those? Talking about Illinois. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? The Yo Mama is so fat.
She has her, yeah. Yes. I tell you, it really is a freak show. I mean, Kamala Harris, we'll show clips of her later in the show, but, dancing and says that you're the gay guy and I'm the law, and it's a gala because you're gay and law. It's just, they're just so bad. We need more. Team Trump said it this morning on their social media. We need more Kamala Harris out there. All right. So I want to turn to next story. This is a positive development for us, and I think the whole country. And kind of makes you wonder why the Democrats or even Republicans didn't do anything about this. I know both of you guys have been following MAHA, Make America Healthy Again. And I was listening to RFK Jr. this week in the cabinet meeting, and I saw this headline that came out, and it shows that in the first 100 days, we're getting things done for real people, everyday people, things that are tangible that you could grasp. PepsiCo is saying that they're going to remove artificial ingredients from popular food items by the end of 2025. RFK also talked about how he wanted to eliminate the ability for people to use EBT and food stamps to buy processed foods and sodas and candy. And it seems like we're actually going to get somewhere, and I'm just amazed that American citizens aren't saying, why didn't this come any sooner? Michelle, do you think that these things, again, that people are going to feel very granularly in their everyday lives on their kitchen tables, do you think this is going to play well, and do you think this is going to be as big as a deal as we're kind of making it to be on the show? What do you think of this?
I truly hope so. I mean, if you just look at what's happening with Americans and obesity, and especially when you compare that to other countries, look at cereal, for instance, Fruit Loops. Do you know that you can't find blue Fruit Loops in other countries because they haven't found a healthy substitute? And yet in America, we're very reckless with the foods that we're consuming. And we're seeing now that it's having long-term effects. I find it funny, though, that so many Democrats are trying to argue against this, having a healthier America. These are very small switches that can be made that ultimately support a future generation. I'm really excited for this. I think this is a great first step. Who can really argue against making America healthier? And these are small changes that are going to have big impacts, Mike.
But it seems like they are arguing against it. I see the left coming out. They're saying, this will restrict the ability for certain people to get anything. They won't be able to get any food. Roger, how do you see this playing out? Do you think this is going to help the administration? Or I guess, again, the left is saying it's going to hurt. What do you think?
Look, I kind of agree with what Secretary of State Marco Rubio said in the cabinet meeting. After listening to RFK Jr., I'm afraid to eat anything. And when you examine the broad range of foods that in Europe, all of these additives are illegal, sometimes in a majority of countries, but they're perfectly legal here. No, I think the drive to make America healthy again is a vitally important part of the Trump agenda. I also think it broadens our electoral coalition to bring in moms and families and people who are legitimately concerned about whether we're being poisoned and whether corporate interests are being put ahead of the safety of our families. I think it's a vitally important issue, and frankly, I think RFK Jr. is doing a great job so far, and he's going to go a lot further.
And what do you guys think about the food stamps and banning it? I mean, this had to have been long overdue. I mean, our medical system right now, you got illegal aliens who are clogging into the hospitals, who are getting the same entitlement benefits that, people in this country who can't afford any medical care get through Medicaid and stuff like that. And the Democrats keep saying, the Republicans want to cut Medicaid. The Republicans want to cut Medicaid. Michelle, do you think that that's going to stick, them saying that Republicans are the ones who want to cut health care when they're giving health care very much so to illegals? I mean, you'd think that people on the streets realize that's going to make their wait times longer, right?
Not only giving it to illegals, they're prioritizing illegals over American citizens. We've seen that firsthand for the past 4 years. But look, this also goes back to big pharma, because at the end of the day, if you keep people sick, if you keep people unhealthy, who ultimately profits? And it's quite literally big pharma and their hands in the pockets of politicians. So there's something much larger here at play, and it's not putting the American citizens first, and we know that. It's ultimately about making people money. And unfortunately, American families and citizens suffer from that.
100%. And Roger, we're going to give you a last word here. 30 seconds. Next 100 days, biggest thing that people need to watch out for. 30 seconds. Big prediction from Roger Stone.
Wow, that's really putting me on the spot. Look, I'm really very curious about whether the president is prepared to suspend habeas corpus in order to get around these federal judges who are exceeding their authority in an effort to undo the results of the last election. Obviously, he would come under withering criticism from the left, but the question is a simple one. Are we in a national emergency or not? I say we are. I say the 20 million plus illegals who Joe Biden let into the country, many of them terrorists, disproportionately military-age single men, not to mention the extraordinary weaponry that was brought into the country illegally. Yes, we're in a national emergency, and dire times call for dire messages. Anyone who thinks Donald Trump doesn't have the guts to do this does not understand Donald Trump.
He's got him, and, I think everybody at this point knows that, whether the leftists want to admit it or not. I want to thank my panel for joining us, and I want to thank the next sponsor of our show tonight, and those are our friends on over at OFP Farms. Guys, Mother's Day is coming up, and what a better gift to get for them than the gift. Oh, look at that. Beautiful soaps, lotions, lip balms, you name it. They got beard products. You wouldn't get beard products for your mother, but great beard oil products that I use, and magnesium pain relief creams. Amazing stuff over at OFP Farms, made with all natural ingredients. Goat milk and beef tallow are the two main ingredients. RFK talks about how healthy that stuff is. So guys, go to OFPfarms.com and use promo code LASTCALL. OFP Farms, promo code LASTCALL to save 20% off on your order, and it makes a great Mother's Day gift coming up. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Be right back. Do not go anywhere. back to the show, everybody. Mike Crispi here. Thanks for sticking with us on this Saturday night. Last call, Mike Crispi, producer Frankie. And it's been a big show tonight because we're celebrating President Trump's first 100 days. And I guess we're talking about the ways that the Democrats are deciding to combat it. And you would think in a span of 100 days, they would figure something out that is at least remotely palatable to the American people. But I am here to tell you that on day 100, they decided to respond to President Trump by announcing the return of Kamala Harris. And then on day 101, Kamala Harris made her return all right. And I guess she's now got some jokes, some very cringy ones at that. Roll it, Frankie.
I'm glad that you're here at this gala. You know, like I was telling them, you know, you can't have a gala without the gay and then the comedy.
Exactly.
You just
That's
can't.
right. Between us, we are the gala.
It's so bad. It's so bad. Like, I just want to cringe, and I just want to say it's really a horrible joke. And by the way, it's pronounced gala, not gala, okay? It's gala. So gay, no, it doesn't even work. And by the way, it seems like the only constituency that like has undying love for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are gay black people. Like, I don't know what other constituency at this point they're trying to maintain and hold down. It's like every other constituency besides gay black people, like, yeah, no, we're over this. But, oh no, she still is holding on for dear life to the people that accept her and know her most. Here is very authentic Kamala Harris. Roll it.
All right, wait. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now cross. All right.
Look at Kamala's face. I did a little back step. Oh, my goodness. Frankie, could you bust out those moves? And do you think, again, Biden made his appearance? So Biden made his appearance like a couple weeks ago. And after he gave the speech, I said, all right, they're putting him back in the basement for good. We're not going to see him. Kamala came out. She did a little two-step, back step, crazy thing. Gala, we're going to show a clip from her speech. Do you think they leave her out there, Frankie? You think she's going to run for governor of California? What's going on here?
Well, the bigger problem for me, Mike, is just, you know, Trump. We've been dealing with Trump for so long. It's been beautiful for us. But we forget that it is true that, you know, Washington is just Hollywood for ugly people. And let's just be real. I mean, this is all they're going to have. And honestly, it's just incredible to see. Look at her, look at Waltz. I mean, besides the fact that they look like idiots, they are genuinely stupid people, and they don't have your best interests at heart. It's like you are going to be swallowed by the globalist elite in a split second. It's just so embarrassing, and I can't believe they're trotting them out. Have they learned nothing? Have they no shame?
Well, so, you know, this globalist elite controls these people like puppet on strings. Again, we always will talk about that on this show. We are not afraid to say it. And it also is quite fascinating that we talk about puppet on strings. It's not just Kamala Harris. It's not just Tim Walz, who we're about to show, who was referenced earlier in the broadcast. It seems like the people who are like the new Avengers of the Democrat Party are like the worst people ever. Like when you get destroyed in the election and President Trump beat you 3 times, and they know it was 3 times. When that happens, you think they would reset and say, all right, we need a little bit of a shift. But they just continue to elevate the worst people. And it's not me just saying, well, Mike, you're just cherry picking certain Democrat moments that make them look stupid. No, this is literally who their standard bearer, Kamala Harris, is shouting out as her favorite people. Roll it.
Including congressional leaders like Cory Booker, Chris Van Hollen, Chris Murphy, Jasmine Crockett, Maxwell Cross, AOC, and Bernie Sanders.
That's like just death row right there. That's death row if the Democrat Party doesn't want to win in 50 years. Okay, there it is. I'm taglining it, Frankie. Cory Booker, the guy who sat for 24 hours on the steps and then sat the other day on the 24 hours he did that speech, the filibuster, and then he sat on the steps. Van Hollen, who was defending the MS-13 criminal gang members. Maxwell Frost, who is just like a dumb child cosplaying as a member of Congress with a credit score so bad he couldn't rent an apartment when he got to Washington when he allegedly got elected as a congressman. Oh, and we cannot forget Jasmine Crockett, who says, that she is truly a black woman, as if we didn't know that from every single time we've ever heard her.
Mike, you should hire me, Frankie, because I am a black woman. Obviously.
That's
the logic's there.
Yes, the logic is there. And then Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders, who, by the way, Frankie, did you see Bernie Sanders? Bernie Sanders is like, again, he's got some stamina. I got to give him that. When you have 4 houses and are raking in millions of dollars selling communism to people, I guess that draws a level of stamina that few people understand, because few people are engaged in that deceptive way of life. It's like gives you like a shot of adrenaline. Like, I'm lying to these people. I'm really going with it to the bitter end. I'm Bernie Sanders. He's so fired up about lying so duplicitously about his life that he literally came out to give a speech yesterday, Frankie, and he literally faced the wrong side of the podium. Like, the podium sign was there, and he faced the wrong side of the podium and started addressing the back of the crowd. And they're like, Bernie. He's like, oh, I'm so bewildered by all the socialism that I'm going to spin on these people. It's like, keep getting richer. Now, I think the worst of the worst, worse than Kamala, is Tim Walz. I'm going to say, a little controversial, that he's worse than everybody. Barack Hussein Obama at the DNC said, I love this guy, Tim Walz, because he looks like just the rest of us. Checks notes. He watches the football and he drinks the Corona, and he hunts. He hunts. Barack Obama trying to make it sound relatable. Here's Tim Walz letting us know for a fact that none of it was relatable. Roll it.
I was on the ticket, I would argue, because we did a lot of amazing progressive things in Minnesota that improved people's lives. But I also was on the ticket, quite honestly, because I could code talk to white guys watching football, fixing their truck, doing that I could put them at ease. I was the permission structure to say, look, you can do this and vote for this. And you look across those swing states, with the exception of Minnesota, we didn't get enough.
Okay, Frankie, you're being really authentic to voters when you start throwing out terms that I probably never heard before. Code talk, but it doesn't sound good, Frankie.
I mean, when he says, I knew I was going to be the vice president nominee because I could talk to these people. Actually, we knew that you weren't going to win the election when you decided to create camo hats to say, look, hunters, I'm with you. It's just... It's so disrespectful, honestly.
Greetings, fellow hunters. Greetings. I am like you.
Yeah. It's just like, what intern did you listen to for that idea? Like, you just lost the whole vote in a swoop. Nothing else had to happen. It's just disrespectful and disgusting. Just give me a break.
Lied about being a head football coach. Guy lied about not being totally bought and sold by the Chinese. Went to China 35 times. Really relatable to the average white man of the country. Guy sold out his entire state to the Muslim Brotherhood, okay, when they moved in. And Ilhan Omar and her ilk. Mike, really relatable.
Don't forget the platoon that he left when they got stationed into the war, and he said, actually, I'm going to go run. It's unbelievable that he even made it that far. So why don't you just go in your corner, pull a Biden, and stop speaking?
How about this? Stolen valor, and at this point, stolen white identity. The appropriation of the white identity by Tim Walz will go down in history as a monumental fraud. Luckily, the people did not fall for it. Oh my goodness, it gets worse by the day for these people. All right, guys, we're gonna tell you about our next sponsor, and this is a big one, big one, and this is freetrumpknife.com. Listen, everybody, they are giving away a limited run of 250 America is Back Trump 2025 commemorative knives, and you could claim yours right now for free for our audience. Just cover the shipping. Guys, this is a spring-assisted, razor-sharp collector's piece, complete with a laser-etched Trump slogan and an America flag-inspired handle. It's functional, patriotic, and it's built for anybody who still believes in strength, freedom, and America First patriotism. Whether you add it to your collection or if you give it to a gift to somebody who just gets it. This is one of those rare drops that is going to go fast. Just head on over to freetrumpknife.com right now. Only 250 are available, and they will not last. So claim yours today. That is freetrumpknife.com. Claim yours today. Carry your pride into this summer season. You're outdoors, you're doing stuff. You need to be at least carrying a knife, okay? Every red-blooded alpha male and woman should be doing that. So, guys, freetrumpknife.com. There's 250 available. I'm just seeing breaking news. Frankie just got one. So now there's only 249. So 249 left. Do not miss it. freetrumpknife.com. This offer will not last. Why not get it? It's free. You're welcome. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back to wrap the show. Do not go anywhere. the show, everybody. Mike Crispi here. Hey, if you're liking me and Frankie, well, you could check us out every day. Rumble.com/Crispi. That is rumble.com/Crispi. We're pumping out daily podcasts. Mike Crispi, unafraid, baby. Oh, we're not unafraid. We got the big guns on day 102 or 3 or 4 or whatever we're in right now. We are in the golden age. And it's amazing in the golden age. We can all feel a little bit better about the dark age, which was the last 4 years. And last weekend, the fake news that perpetuated, enabled, and covered up Biden's demonstrable and insidious decline, they were patting themselves on the back for the moment that they got the green light from their overlords who run the fake news, the green light to go out there and tell the truth about Biden. Yeah, no, they really did that. When the green light was given, they told the truth about Biden, and they celebrated themselves doing real hard-hitting journalism, despite the fact that they obviously covered it up for years until they were told not to do it anymore because they were going to lose with Biden. But no, they attempted to do this with a straight face and broadcast it to the world. Here is the White House Correspondents Association keynote speech. Roll it.
President Biden's decline and its cover-up by the people around him is a reminder that every White House, regardless of party, is capable of deception. But being truth tellers also means telling the truth about ourselves. We, myself included, missed a lot of this story, and some people trust us less because of it. We bear some responsibility
These geeks.
For faith in the media being at such lows.
Okay, so it's amazing. He goes, and I missed it, but then when I uncovered it before everybody else did, and I realized it, I knew I had a duty to put it out there. We all missed it together, couldn't believe it. But when I found out, I was the first one. I cracked the code. I had the secret. I said, what do? I'm in possession of all this information. This will change the course of history. Nobody has seen this before. It's like, no, we saw it literally from day one of the illegitimate reign. Little reminder. Roll it, Frankie.
Beer brewed here, it is used to make the brew beer. My memory is fine. The president of Mexico, Sisi, did not want to open up the gate. A solid meeting with and Mitterrand from Germany, from France, looked at me and said, I'm going to be a president for everybody, whether you live in a red state or a green state. Anyway, I don't want to. And making Roe v. Wade. The best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you, that you like to be able to. Anyway, Putin's kleptocracy.
Anyway, and there it is. Yeah, those are journalists. Again, journalists literally journal the things that they see and hear and report on, and that was happening for 4 years. So my question is, where was Real America's Voice's invitation to the White House Correspondents' Dinner? Why wasn't Frankie presented the keynote? I'd like to know. I think we're going to be waiting for a long time. Fake news, goodbye. It's amazing. All right, I want to tell you guys about our last sponsor before we go tonight. And our last sponsor are our friends over at the Smart Health Plan. Guys, are you fed up with health insurance premiums that drain your wallet? Well, I want to introduce you to the Smart Health Plan. Say goodbye to big insurance premiums and government control and say hello to huge monthly premium savings, a nationwide PPO network with unlimited doctor visits and low copays, unlimited and free access to telemedicine, and comprehensive catastrophic coverage designed to protect your family from the financial consequences of a serious illness or injury. If you're facing COBRA, if you're self-employed, or if you just need a better deal for your family, the Smart Health Plan has your back and is guaranteed to be able to get you covered. That's big. And for businesses with 50 or fewer employees, the Smart Health Plan is the ultimate solution for you. So if you want more information, get in touch with them today, thesmarthealthplan.com, website on your screen, or call my friend Barry at 833-752-6742. That's 833-752-6742. The Smart Health Plan. Guys, 6 in 10 bankruptcies in this country occur because of medical bills that people can't pay. The illegals get it, but you don't, apparently. So protect yourself. get the smart health plan, and ensure your family's financial future and continuity, okay? We're making the country great again. Go get them. Go check them out today. All right, guys, that's about all the time that we have on the broadcast today. What a fun episode of the show. I want to thank producer Frankie, want to thank our amazing panels, and want to thank all of you for making this the hottest show in conservative late night TV. And I always say it, we're just getting started. 100 days into the administration, 100 days into the golden age. And my question is, what are we going to be doing next? But the answer is, I can guarantee you it's going to be a lot of fun. And we're going to be here with you along for the ride. All right, guys, thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate you, and we'll see you back live next week.